Now I'm going to be trying to replicate this pattern and these colors coming from one of the rocks on my display for the diorama for the Thunderbird kit onto this piece of styrofoam, which I cut as I thought I needed a little something more in one corner of the display. So I'm hoping that this is going to come out the way I like, so that I can add this to that corner and just fill in a spot that just looks a little empty to me. Now I'm going to start by laying first a light coat of the light gray from Vallejo Model Air, number 71296. And just seeing where I go from there. We're going to be mixing, matching a few colors, and just trying to see how this is going to look. So let's see if we can get something close to what the other rock is. Now we're going to start darkening the color a little bit with the neutral gray from Vallejo Model Air, number 71051. We're going to mix a couple of drops of this into the previous color, and just to see what we get and get some various shades of grays going on. Add one more drop of the gray just to darken the color up a little bit more. Alright, now I'm going at it with the Vallejo Ivory, just to give it a little bit of a yellowish tone like the other rocks have. And for that, I'm using the model color Ivory 70.918. And it's really bringing up the highlights in the stone and really giving me the look that I want. I think I'm happy with it right there. Now let's look at it in comparison to the one that I am trying to mimic, and I think I'm almost there. Now this stone does have a slightly more yellowish tint than what the ivory's given me, so it probably would have worked had I mixed in a little bit of yellow, or maybe yellow ochre, like a yellowish tint to the paint. But we're going to try it now and fit it next to the actual diorama and see how it looks. But I'm kind of happy with it just the way it is. Okay, guys, now I'm working on the diorama. I have my homemade cliff face glued down to the base. I've also glued down the other rocks, which I got at Hobby Lobby. And now I'm adding all of the plants and grass and trees to the diorama just to try and give it almost like a desert terrain type of look, with a few outcroppings of trees and plants here and there that the International Rescue Team are going to have to work their way through to take care of whatever mission they have going on. Now, basically what I'm doing is I've purchased different types of grass and weed detachable grass bushes from JTT scenery products, and using them selectively in different areas, make it look like they're just outcroppings and overgrowth of bushes and weeds and, you know, whatever you'll find in a somewhat arid terrain. Now, the trees I'm using are also from JTT scenery products, and what I'm doing is just gluing everything down using a hot glue gun. And I'm just picking and choosing where I'm going to lay this stuff down just to try and give it a realistic look, or as realistic as I can make it. So we're going to get back to gluing things here and there and here, and see where we end up. Just gives it a wild, rough look, terrain look. Now we're adding the rocks and debris that are going to be scattered throughout this desert floor, as we're going to have some of the vehicles here clearing rocks away from the landing area, but we're also going to have debris along the other rocks here just to give it more of a really rough terrain look. Now, what I'm using for the rocks are from JT Terrains. They have a bag of rocks. Now, yes, I could have picked up rocks from my yard. But these are pretty cool because you have various different diameters of rocks. You have the large rocks, the small rocks, which, if you can look at the bit that I've already put in place here, it looks like a crumbling rock face here and here. And there you go. With the different diameter rocks, just give it a more realistic appearance, I think. And yes, I know that the rocks and pebbles are a different color than the large boulders here, but we're going to call that erosion. Yes, that's what we're going to call it. Because I kind of really like the white outcroppings of rock here. So, as you can see there, I like the way the color contrast. So we're just going to spread the yellow colored rocks all over the field here and finish up our build. Now you might be asking, how am I going to keep these things from falling all over the place every time I move it? Tell me more. Well, these are actually glued in place. Now, what I like to do when I glue the rocks in place is I use my Mod Podge, and I dab some of it in the area where I want to place the rocks. Then I'll put the rocks on the Mod Podge, let it sit for a minute, and then I take watered down Mod Podge and I pretty much just paint over the rocks with my brush with the watered down Mod Podge so that it sinks into all the crevices, and then I just leave it alone. As soon as it dries and hardens, you have rocks that are going to be sitting there forever, unless of course you decide to pry them off. But that seems to be working to hold all the rocks in their positions. So we're going to keep doing that and spreading our rocks all over the area until we are done. Okay guys, now I'm going to take you through the procedure that I'm using to set these rocks up. Basically, it's just a little bit of Mod Podge here. And then I'm going to decide where I'm going to put them. And we're going to toss a few of them around here. Now I am using the matte colored Mod Podge as I don't want a shiny rock surface. Let's grab a bunch of the small ones here. And it's all about just trying to give it as natural a look as possible. Now these vehicles here are going to be clearing the landing zone of debris. So there we go. That is a good start there. Now what I'm going to do is just take some, we're going to pat it down just a little bit, make sure that they're getting in there. Now we're going to take some really diluted Mod Podge. We want it to be really watery so that we can just paint it over the rocks there. And hopefully do that without picking up too many of them, because they notice that while I'm doing this, I do happen to pick up quite a few of the smaller rocks. So don't worry too much if you're moving around, because that just adds more to the chaotic nature of the way the rocks are strewn through the area. And just try not to get it on the vehicles and on as few of the plants as possible. looks like a bit of a mess right now, but trust me, when it dries, it has a much better appearance. Let's toss a few more of the really small rocks on there. Now I did buy this spray-on glue, which I'm going to be putting a little bit on. Which will hopefully keep them all in place. Until they dry. So a combination of the two glues really helps to give you the look that you're going for. So now let's add a little more debris. We're gonna go for a little more, I guess right around here. We want it to look like these vehicles have cleaned up quite a bit of the area. There we go. Now that should all dry perfectly clear. And when we put our vehicle back here, it'll look like it's been hard at work clearing up all of the mess that whatever storm disaster this laid down has caused. And we may even just glue it down here and glue some rocks into the shovel just to make it look as if it's really doing its job. Okay guys, we're gonna stop right here and we'll be back. Well, actually for me it'll be one day, but for you it'll be a couple of seconds. With the we'll take a look at everything after it's dried. We'll see how stable all the rocks are, and then we'll move on from there to finish this thing off. Alright guys, here you can see the result of some of what we've done here today. Here we have the rocks. They're securely glued down to the base there. They're not going anywhere. And I think they really do set off this build really nicely. The vehicles are not glued down, as you know, I can reposition them whenever I want. Just to change things up here and there. And I do have, except for this one, which I kind of put it down before all of the glue I sprayed was dried. And now he's kind of stuck there. I could probably just pop him off, but I'm just going to leave it there. The other one here is free to move. And as you can see, everything there is set up so that he can look like he's moving the debris away from the landing area. And we just randomly set the rocks all over the base, just to give us a good look of, debris strewn all over the place, so that it looks like there's quite a bit going on there. But everything is in there. Our plan of gluing them down and then spraying the glue over them in order to secure it to the base worked out perfectly. I'm happy with that. So with that, let's get ready for the big reveal, guys, so I can show you what it all looks like completely lit up. So we're going to start that right now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
Alright guys, and here we have it, the completed Thunderbird 2 rescue diorama build. All the vehicles are done. You can see the lights and sound effects are all working perfectly, and it just came out fantastic. This is my first time doing one of these big dioramas, well, big for me anyway, and I really enjoyed it. The diorama itself was fun to make, but this Aoshima kit is fantastic. The only issues I had with it were some very minor fit issues. A couple of places where I thought the detailing could have been a little bit better. We'll go into that. And some of the decals just seem to be a little bit oversized, but that's nothing you can't work with. Overall, this is an excellent kit, and if you're a fan of the Thunderbirds, I recommend it 100%. So, while we're here, let's give a quick overview of the build itself. We'll take a look at all the little features in it, and then I'll give you my rating of this kit, which by now you already should know it's going to be extremely positive. So, let's take a closer look. Now, if you've been following this build from the beginning, which you should have, and if you haven't, go back and watch my videos. It's been a really cool build, and an amazing kit. But if you haven't followed from the beginning, then you already know that this is a kit where, a transparent kit. And I decided to give us a cutaway view of the ship on one side and fully painted and detailed on the other. So if you take a look inside, you can see all of the different compartments. All the detailing on the interior is done. I created a small light fixture for that room there just to lighten that up. You can see the bridge of the ship here with the control panels all lit up. I decided to backlight the control panel surfaces, which really worked out nicely. The ship itself is really nicely done. Has all sorts of interior detailing. You can see the nuclear reactor there that is completely lit up. The power dome in the nuclear reactor lights up along with the rest of the ship. You can see that there. You can see all of the weathering effects that I gave in the paint job. That was a lot of fun, as I tried a bunch of techniques that I had not tried before, and they actually worked. And then the best part of it is the jet exhaust that worked out better than I even thought it would. It was my first time trying something like this. I made the smoke from cotton. The flickering LEDs are from Evans Designs, which really worked out fantastically. The interesting part was running all of the wiring through the ship. I'll show you, if you go back and watch the video, you can see exactly how I got all of that in there. It was a little bit of a tight fit, but we managed to make it work. And the effect of it lifting off or landing, it could be either one, just came out fantastic. Let's take a look around the back of the ship here. Let me see if I can add a little more light on it so that you guys can see a little bit better all the weathering effects. Take a look at the top of the ship where you can see that it's completely cut away. Now, overall, this kit is an excellent, excellent kit. One of the very few places that I found it was lacking a little bit is right here on this part of the engine. If you can see that, the engine comes in two parts, which is here. Let me see if I can find something a little easier to point with. This is one part of the engine here, and then the other part back here. But right in between the two was an empty slot, which really didn't look great. So I had to fabricate a piece to fit in there to cover that empty slot there. Otherwise, you would have just had a big space with nothing connecting the front and rear parts of the engine. The same here with this area here. I don't know if you guys can really see that well, but there is an air intake here on the front of the ship which feeds the engine, and there was nothing here, so there would have been one big empty space between here and here, not connecting the two. So I fabricated the pieces to fill all of that in. Let's see if we kill the light, maybe I can show you better. There you go. I fabricated this piece here. I fabricated this piece here, and if we come back here, this piece here to connect the two engine halves. No, I'm sorry, this piece here to connect the two engine halves so that we would have one complete engine from the front of the air intake all the way to the back of the exhaust to complete the look. Now, other than I had a little trouble fitting the door to the pod, into the pod itself, as I don't think it was molded correctly because you couldn't really close it completely without it popping out of its hinges. So that wasn't a problem for me since mine is going to be displayed open all the time on the diorama. And you can see one of the ships, or one of the vehicles inside the pod now, one of the magnetic tow trucks. Along, if you look very carefully in there, I created a few odds and ends just to clutter up the interior a little bit. There are some crates back there, and then some other, if you look all the way in the back, some kind of piping for rescue work, whatever that might be. Now, one of the other issues I had with this kit, again, were injection pin marks. There were injection pin marks everywhere on the clear portions of the ship. Not really a problem if the ship wasn't transparent, but if you want to keep it so that you can look inside, those injection pin marks are a little obtrusive there. I mean, overall, it really doesn't take away from it, but that's something that if I do build another one of these, I will be definitely sanding that down and polishing it out. I was a little concerned with that as I wasn't sure if trying that would fog up the transparency. So on this one, I decided to leave it alone. But there's definitely an issue with that, as there were injection pin marks everywhere on this model. Also, I did not put in the glass for the nose of the cockpit glass, because I just wanted to be able to see in there clearly. The glass is kind of thick, and I thought it might distort your view looking in there. So I figured I'd just leave it out, as in most filming models, they really don't put the glass in so that they could film whatever's going on inside the ship anyway. So I figure we'll just go along with that. Now here's all the weathering that I did, all those hand-painted panel lines to highlight the panel lines that were already on the ship, as it did have raised panel lines. This is not a new kit. It's a reboxing of an older Thunderbirds kit, which was just basically made in transparent styrene, clear styrene, so that you could have all of the interiors, which is the cool part of the ship. Take a look at that. Now, one thing I did do was I left the nose cone detachable, so that if it is on display, I can remove the nose cone. We'll take a look at that a little bit later, and you can see the entire interior on both sides. As the only thing you can see is these small windows here, which doesn't really give you a view into anything, and there's quite a bit of detail on this side also. So I figured I would leave that removable, so if it's at a show or on display, I can pop the nose cone off and just show off all the interior detailing, which there is quite a bit of. Now, the paint work that I decided to do there was, let me turn off the light again so you guys can get a good look on the inside. Decided to go with 1960s retro future look, which is all bright colors, as this is what they thought the future would look like in the 1960s. So you can see yellows and reds and blues, all the equipment in there with bright coloring on it. Here's their little computer living area here. There's a rocket that they carry in the front there for various missions. There's actually a staircase in there that leads from the cockpit all the way up to this rocket storage area. We're going to look inside the cockpit there. You can see all of the paint work, or, you know, as much as you can see through these little windows. But I mean, you can see this model is just so filled with detail. I did add some photo etch detailing also to the interior. We'll take a look at that later. Now let's take a look at the rest of the diorama. You guys just finished watching the episode, this final episode, where I added all the rocks and all the debris strewn around the entire diorama. There's our mole, one of our vehicles there, getting ready to drill into the rock face. Here we have our radio transmitter truck and our fire truck. We have all four of the elevator cars. Both of our domos. No, these are not the domos. These are the... You know, now I don't remember what these are. But these are clearing off a bunch of the debris here. If I remember the name, I'll put it right above them. We have our magnetic fire trucks. We have another one of... We have our excavator, helping with removing of the debris there so that they could land the pod and do whatever they have to do. And here we have our domo demolitions vehicle, which is on the way to help them blow up whatever rocks they have to in order to clear off everything they have to do. Now, as you guys remember, I also installed speakers into the base that are being run by my phone, and the music is being streamed right to the base. Now, the phone itself is powering the Bluetooth and also streaming to the base. So this is going to be the entire build along with its Bluetooth capable. streaming system. And slow the volume a little bit. So there we go, guys. That is the entire build. Let's just take a trip around. Give you guys a complete look at everything. You can see all the foliage that I put there, the trees, all the bushes. There's the rock that I put in the corner there. I thought there was a just seemed empty to me, that corner, so I figured I'd put something there just to give it, just to fill up the space a little bit. And here we have it on its painted side, so you can see what it would look like. So I'm really, really happy with this build. Thrilled with the way it came out. And that the fact that the lighting effects and the Bluetooth and everything actually work. Alright guys, I promised you I'd give you a look on the inside. So basically, I can just pop the nose cone off. And we have full access to all of the interior. You can see this, I don't know what this part is here. It's some kind of a, I'm guessing it's some kind of computer core or something. I've added all sorts of paneling effects using different metallic tones. You can see the inside of that room there. It's got some lighting going on there. We have some lighting going on in there. Of course, our lights in there. Here's a good look at our control room. And then over here we have more, the other side of those two rooms that we just looked at. And this is the one side that you won't be able to see when everything's together. It's another computer room. Here you can see some of the lighting where the wiring ran through for our LEDs. And here we have some more detail work inside some of these rooms here. And on the underside of the ship, we have quite a few more details going on. As I said, this is an excellent kit. The detail work is amazing. And guys, I gotta give you my rating for it. I'm giving this one a 9.5. That is how much I like this kit. I don't think I've ever rated another kit that high. But you get so much for your money in this kit. Because not only are you going to build the main ship with all of the features that it brings, you get 11, count them guys, 11 vehicles to build and detail. That is amazing. I mean, all of the fun you can have, so much entertainment. I mean, it's not the cheapest kit in the world, but it's going to offer you so much bang for your buck. When you start doing all of the detail work on these small vehicles, and you can get as crazy with them as you want. Like I really beat these two up and did all sorts of chipping work. These also, some are flat, some are glossy. I did all sorts of different styles of paint jobs on these vehicles. My favorites being these elevator cars because they really are amazing. Let's see if I can pop that off, give you guys a really good look at the detail work that's in there. I mean, there's so much you can do, so much paint work, so much fun you can have building this kit that if it wasn't for just a few of those tiny little fit issues and those pieces that I had to fabricate because those gaps there just wouldn't have looked right. This would have been a 10 out of 10. But as of right now, it's a 9.5. One of the highest ratings I've ever given a kit. And I recommend you guys, if you're a fan of the Thunderbirds, or if you like really cool sci-fi models, just pick one up. Because it's a fantastic build. So that's it, guys. That's going to be the end of this build. Any of you guys who are coming to NNL East, not NNL East, I'm sorry, the IPMS Nationals, this upcoming April in New Jersey, this model will be on display there if you want to take a closer look at it and take a real nice gander at all of the detail. Oh, forgot to mention all of the lighting that's going on inside of the pod itself. The domo and the excavator are both also lit. Let me give you guys a better look at that. You can see there the excavator is lit, as is the domo. I think the lighting effect worked out better on the domo than it did on the excavator, as I may have put the LED a little bit too far back on the excavator, so it doesn't give me that really bright light that the domo does. But live and learn, live and learn. There's a lot of firsts for me in this build, and I'm really thrilled with the way it came out. My diorama, I'm going to be focusing more on dioramas when I build my sci-fi stuff from here going out, because they are so much fun to do, and hopefully I'll be getting better at it, as there are quite a few places in this diorama that I can see that I could have made some improvements. But it was a learning experience. So I'm going to be looking forward to doing quite a bit more of this. And more with the electronics, as I plan on putting lighting and sound into many more of my builds. Alright guys, that's going to be it. And remember, like, subscribe, give me a comment. Let me know what you guys think of this build. And hit that notification bell. You know, hit the like button, because that algorithm really spreads the news of the channel. And I'm trying to get it to grow. We're at 1,700 now, guys. Still hoping that we can make 2,000 by the end of the year. And if we do, we're going to have a really nice giveaway. So, let's do it. Let's get to 2,000. All right, guys. That's going to be it. I will see you on the next one.
Thunderbirds are go.